On this episode, we got legend Travis Mash in the building. I know you're excited, Danny.
Yeah, we heard some of the most epic stories of all time and a lot of science-based training stuff. Really cool.
Cool.
This episode is going to make you want to drink your own blood. Just stay tuned.
Trayvon.
Yeah, this episode was a straight banger. It's like the velocity training, all that is just super intriguing. And if you're into like weightlifting, sports, powerlifting, you'll take something away from this.
If you fuck with us at all, you will learn a bunch about this episode. And Travis gave me one of the maybe the biggest compliments I've ever had about training and coaching, which I'm really proud of. This show is awesome. Let's roll to it right now. All right, Roundtable Podcast. I'm your boy Corey G at Small Arms, Danny at Trey Speed, and the graphic gangster himself, Cole Susak. Special guest, Mash Mafia, Travis Mash. What's good, brother?
It's good to be back here.
Hey.
Excited.
You know what? First off, walked in looking sexy today, Travis. I see you working. You're in shape,
Right.
bro. You're feeling good. I want to show props. I haven't seen him in a while. Come in looking in good shape. You know, he's been traveling around the world.
Yep.
I want you to give us a little background for the people that don't know you, Travis, because you wear a lot of hats and have over your career, which is why me and you, I think, get along so well together.
Right.
So please take it away. Just give us a little background on yourself.
I mean, there's two worlds I've lived in. I grew up as the powerlifter. You know, I won 2 world championships, a bunch of world records in powerlifting. But I had been to Colorado Springs when I was younger to do weightlifting. And just my father got sick, died, pulled me away. So powerlifting was just at the time easier. There wasn't all these gyms on every corner back then. So, but I really do. My true love, first love is weightlifting, even though.
So Olympic lifting. For a lot of
Right.
people don't
Olympic,
know.
yes,
Yeah.
right.
Like in your world, everyone calls it weightlifting. In the
Olympic.
more, yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to clarify that.
I know, and like some weightlifting coaches are really like, it's weightlifting.
Yeah. No, I get it. I'm just clearing that up for the people who don't know.
Totally understood.
But so Olympic lifting was your first love.
Yeah, it really was.
Which was Louis Simmons' first love too.
It really was. That's why we became, good friends. And
Yeah.
we talked the whole time about what, some ideas that we had for the Olympic weightlifting.
Yeah,
And so I feel like that's why we got along so well.
Hell yeah.
So, but then switch back. Muscle Driver USA was a thing. It was a really good equipment company. At the time, it was like second to Rogue. It was big, and so they started a professional weightlifting team.
Oh, that's cool.
With like Glenn, right?
Glenn,
Yeah.
and Don, and then I was the third. And that was great.
So you're getting paid to be a
to
weightlifter.
be a weightlifting coach was like a dream.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and they paid as well. And so, but then Muscle Drivers started falling, and so I wanted to keep doing it, and I wanted to keep. At the time, we stipend the athletes.
Mm-hmm.
So then I wanted to do it. So I found the online world and started making some good income. So I was able to stipend. There was like 5 different athletes I was paying. I mean, I'm not going to pretend I was paying them a lot, but $600 a month.
Still, yeah.
Which, at the time was unheard of. The coaches would get mad. They're like, because they're trying to get people paying them,
Yeah.
here I am giving
Paying
them.
that, yeah.
There was 2 of us, Dave from Cal Strength. He still does the same thing. And so anyway, so I went through that, and then I got to the time, an era of wanting to go back to school, which is what I'm in right now. I just came out of the master's side of things, so now I'm on to the PhD. But so luckily, a bunch of my athletes were of the university age. So I taught at Lenore Ryan University, and they agreed to start a weightlifting program there. So I've been there.
So you could get a scholarship
Yeah.
to do Olympic
Yeah.
lifting,
Yeah.
which is fucking dope.
Yeah.
It's cool, and like they treat us just like football. We with the athletic trainers are downstairs with so they can go down there and do cold,
Hell
heat,
yeah.
get any type of like the manipulation stuff that they do. They're all different. It's really cool because each athletic trainer, there's a bunch of really good ones, and so some people are good at like using their hands. Some people are good at scraping. Anyway, so it's a good situation. And then the first 2 years I've been there, we've won the national championship, which is crazy because I'm a brand new program.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, but you was
So
bringing
epic.
some dogs with you,
Yeah.
though.
I
Don't
was
trip,
stacked.
Travis.
My
Your
hand was
recruiting,
stacked.
your
Recruiting,
recruiting was
yeah.
stacked.
So we had that come in, and it's grown, and so that's been where I've at the last since 2020 is when I started going back to school. So I've been in school growing this thing at Lenore Ryan University, continuing to do what I do online, but lately the shift has been to education, which is my favorite. So like like Jim Aware, I work with them. They're a velocity-based training company, and so they literally pay me to teach people, to be
Hell yeah.
about velocity, about strength and conditioning. So it's it's great.
Well, what I love about you, Travis, and that's why I've always come back to, consuming your content and the respect, is that you've lived multiple lives as an actual lifter at an extremely high level. And now you're backing it up with the academics and with the practical app. Like it's pretty unique in my opinion. And that's where like, it's hard to, somebody might not agree with what you're saying with this or that, but it's hard for them to really like be a super hater when you're a fucking G like this too.
It's super hard.
It's very hard. So that's why as I'm getting older, I'm able to make even bigger numbers and kind of separate myself a little bit. And I've just been in it for so long. I'm finally starting to get a little bit more respect as a lifter. And that was the thing I've always got respect for business, right? But I wanted to try to, and that's why I've stayed in it this long and continue to compete. It's like you were able to have a lot of success as a little bit of a younger lifter. And then now you're backing it up. And it wasn't that long ago where I saw you still pull 700 pounds and you're still getting under the bar for, squatting all the time. So it's like those things are a little bit lost with some of these coaches nowadays. And the fact that you can check your athlete, and if you want to pick up 600 cold, I know you can fucking do it right now.
I can still do it. Yeah.
Like, look, do you see how confident? Yeah, I can do that.
Fuck yeah.
I got that.
that was the goal. I wanted to, because, when you talk about the online world, it's somewhat saturated now. There's still plenty of people for everyone, but I wanted to separate myself because you've always got the people like there's Ed Cohen, who's, is the guy. I love that guy. And, he's the great athlete, so people listen to him. And then you have people like Greg Knuckles, who's super smart, and so people listen to him. And then you have people who are good coaches, and so then people listen to them. But, like, I was like, I want to bridge the gap of research of the guy who's been the athlete and the coach. So the final thing was go back to school and learn. Yeah,
props to that. What I also liked is that, obviously you've been around forever, but then we're humble enough to say, well, shit, I like what Corey's doing.
Absolutely.
I'm going to check out this squat everyday stuff. Not an Olympic lifter, not a world record holder, but he understood that the programming was good. Yes. And that potentially could be great, especially now adding your version of it, right? And seeing the bands and like the way we were applying things. So he didn't let these other things that normally let, I think, great other coaches limit them. He said, no. All right, I see what this guy's doing. Let me check it out. Yeah. And that right there told me like, oh, this dude's humble because his list of shit he's accomplished way fucking deeper than mine. Well, but he's saying like, oh, you're onto something here, Corey. Obviously your guys are getting stronger. Something's happening.
Right. And you're probably, not because you're my friend, but honestly, I think you're the most instinctive coach probably that I've ever known. It's like,
wow, thank you.
You just have this instinct of
Can we clip that for Instagram? No. Please continue.
My camera roll.
Like guys like someone I coach like Spencer Arnold, my buddy. He's very smart, and so he's like he's always looking at stats, which is great. So do I. But like he's got all this, that he's read, and like he applies it to his lifting. And most of the time, a lot of people who don't want to do that, who just want to go instinctive, that they are not very good at it. They don't have anything to base off what they're saying. But I think because you've lived it and watched your own body change, you understand.
For so long too, Travis.
Yeah, in your own group, you got more data than anybody because you've trained hundreds of thousands of people and you see what works. And so, you're definitely, if I think of someone that I just consider an instinctive coach, you're definitely going to be the go-to.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't think I've ever trusted anyone, like you.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why when you was like, I'm going to just do the program, I was like, all right. Like, I was like, wait, you sure?
I wanted to do the squat every day because, I understood how frequency can make you, better at a movement. And, I just couldn't think. When I was a power lifter, I didn't. I was 2 to 3 times a week. And so I wanted to try it and see. And it was...
Well, and coming from Olympic weightlifting, Bulgarian methodology was huge, obviously. So that's an Olympic lifting thing.
Right.
And so what you saw was, wait, but these guys aren't Olympic lifters.
Right.
And they're doing it for powerlifting. And what we noticed was when our front squats, which once again, to tell a group of powerlifters, oh, we got to have the mobility for a front squat, but we're not even doing cleans. Right. So so there was a lot of, but I knew that it would transfer over to CrossFitters, 2 Olympic lifters, potentially 2 power lifters. And then when we saw our front squats go up, So did our back squats. So did our deadlift. So did our positioning. Guys were staying, and that's the other thing about Olympic lifters. They're light and really fucking strong. Some of them are super big, obviously, but most of the dudes like Pyro and some of these dudes, they're not very big guys.
Yeah.
In the weights they were handling, but they front squatted way more than they back squatted.
Yeah.
And so it was like that understanding. Then when I went to Louis and I watched the dynamic method and them doing on Fridays, but then I was like, not very many people have a monolift, and like it's hard to like scale this. The guys are all wearing briefs, and then I was like, there's got to be a way that my guys were missing at the top. Their speed was good. I'm like, what if we start maxing out against these things? What the fuck will happen? And I swear to you, after one band wave, we saw, and this is when we were doing 1 band, 2 band, right, Cole?
Yeah,
like
we
weren't
thought- and we
even
thought that was,
we
like,
weren't
heavy.
even using that
Yeah.
much tension. We're talking, we're waving from 100 to 200, maybe to 300. Now that motherfucker starts at 220 and it's going way past 400. But we saw everything just go.
I still can't believe that bands are such a well-kept secret still. That
Still.
It's like, even if you look at the science to them, that's, when you do just a barbell and straight weight, all you have is gravity.
Yep.
You have 9.81 meters per second squared pulling, and that's it. And so, but when you add the bands, it has nothing to do with gravity. It's literally attached to something and pulling you to it, so you're going to increase speed. Now, when you look
It's
at,
forcing more speed.
Yeah.
it's forcing more speed. No way you can do the same load not going faster because it's pulling you. It's acting as a different force. And so when you increase the speed, everything we're finding out about hypertrophy now, like the eccentrics is probably the thing that most people are missing. And not just like an
I can't wait to
overload.
tell you about this.
It's
Keep
the
going.
speed of the eccentric. So the faster you can go down, the neuromuscular adaptations go way up when you talk about stretch reflex.
Yeah, of
put it
course.
Simply. And not to mention that, but even when you talk about the muscles in general, not the tendons and all the connective, but you talk about there's a protein filament called titin that's really important to elasticity, and it's directly correlated to the speed of the eccentric. So like, it only makes sense to do bands, but I hope the people who I compete against still don't, because
Yeah, right? Yeah.
it's a big advantage. So,
Well, and what we saw too, Trav, was the last phase, because we just did where we did a combo event. There was 4 of us. There was like 15 of us did the meet, which was fucking sick.
Right.
But, I was looking around and I was like, all right, I like to fucking challenge that. We did the bodybuilding show on a Saturday, powerlifting meet on Sunday.
Right.
And so Larry Pacifico is the one that held the meet, which you're familiar with him, obviously. He's a fucking stud.
Yes.
So we basically drove down to Dayton and weighed in on Saturday morning for the 24-hour weigh-in. As soon as we got off the scale, we drove to Akron, did the bodybuilding show the same day.
all of you did this?
No, there was 4 of us, and then but most everyone did the meet,
Right.
and then of the crew. So 4 of us competed, got off stage, started bloating, drove back home, slept in Columbus, woke up, went back to Dayton in the morning, and did the powerlifting meet. And on that band wave, not only did our tension go up, but we added eccentrics for every front squat on counts.
Sweet.
So basically, like on Monday, it was a 3 count down, then a 3 count pause, and then get out against the bands.
Oh, man.
And then a 5 count. So we noticed that the eccentric loading, like slowing the tension,
Like
made
Cal
a
Dietz.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, and I wasn't aware of like that he was doing that. Obviously, I saw a lot of people do different things, but when we started changing that, it was like, and then we started doing all pause work on our back squat days. I came in here, it was like probably like 6 weeks out. I did a camber bar at full suit at 700 for a 3 count pause, no bands, just straight weight. And I knew like,
You were ready
oh
for
yeah,
something
something fucking working here. Let me do it.
Did you do any throughout the week of just like a regular down and up? Or was
So we
everything
only
paused?
do that a lot of times on Friday. So when you come in
Monday.
tomorrow, that's when it's like we kind of like a freestyle front squat. Some guys will do 10 count pauses. Some guys will go just down and up. They gangster it out. They'll knee wrap on a day like that sometimes and go for
Awesome.
because we've had 6 guys front squat 455, over 20 front squat 405, all power lifters. And that's all with the mixed grip too, or with the Olympic grip.
Right.
And so that's one of those things where I just kept seeing like these dudes are excelling so much in this lift because of the bands. But the eccentric was a thing we added, which we all felt, I think.
Yeah, I think for sure. I went the last time right when I first started going back to school. I did the bands that you told me about, and it was a crazy improvement. And I'm old, I was in my mid 40s, and now I'm closer to 50, and it was interesting because I got back to well over 500 pounds on the front squat Lickety split. It was crazy.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen videos of front squat 500.
Yeah.
So it was a very fast process.
Yeah.
I came back and like I could do almost 400 day one, but then within just a few weeks, I have to go back 'cause I don't want to exaggerate. It was like 5 or 6 weeks.
But you got back quick.
Yeah, real fast.
The thing that I've noticed with athletes, we had a couple pitching guys recently go through band waves in their off season. Now the pro guys is only like 2 months off season.
Sure.
But what they were explaining is that they didn't really know how to properly brace. So now, a guy that throws 96, 97, he's walking back a front squat against bands, probably wearing a belt or not wearing a belt, but learning how to brace his core. And then he goes, why am I not doing that off the mound?
Yeah.
Why am I not feeling that same internal pressure when I'm pushing? So it's like I've seen that happening. The high school kids are making crazy weights right now, and that's transferred over well that I got. And so it's been interesting to see it starting to creep. Like we had the Pirates AAA guy. I was down there hanging out with him the other day. Like it's interesting because it's starting to creep even a little bit more. And so your velocity stuff, I think, will obviously help this even more so because then people can say, when I do the dynamic stuff, it has to be at these, So you talk about what Jim Aware is doing or what you're kind of working with them.
With velocity, it keeps we're never going to miss because I'll say work up to 1 RM, and I'll give them a velocity. So like
so part of the 1 RM is they have to meet a velocity.
They have to meet it. Yeah,
I got it.
It's
Okay.
a 1 RM at like 0.5 meters per second, which is kind of heavy, but not too bad. It might be getting close to 9%. And
Got
so
it.
we never, with my top dude Ryan Grimsland. Like,
it's a stud.
Yeah, he's incredible. But we very rarely go below 0.4, even though you can go. Like I can go to 0.18 if you're really good. Yeah. Someone like you who's lifted forever, you could grind to a 0.18,
sure,
or lower. But I never get them there because here's the thing: is that in weightlifting, I want them to be strong, but I don't necessarily need to like show that.
Yeah.
I need to know that he could without actually putting him under the risk of doing it. So so since we've been doing that, he's been on an absolute monster tear. And so because he never gets overly fatigued from squatting or never gets close to being even hurt or beat up because he's never going to miss.
You're managing it by that.
Managing by that.
That's interesting.
And I can literally watch. So like, for example, let me make this simple. Let's say that we test 90% and he does it at, we'll say 0.38, whatever. And
it's
so,
ultra fast.
Yeah, it's pretty fast.
Yeah.
And so then 6 weeks later, we don't necessarily try to beat it. We go 90% again, and so now he's at 0.42. So I know 100% at that point he can do X.
I got a question based around this. So for Olympic lifting specifically, a guy like Ryan, right? Yeah. Ryan doesn't have a meet, let's say for a couple months or whatever.
This is what we're in right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think this is just my own from what I'm seeing here. There is value in pushing him that because when that bar slams on those guys, Travis, and you know better than me because you're more elite, they get stuck in that 3/4 spot a lot. Right? Yeah. And that's where the band tension, especially as they rotate through.
Right.
Like right now we're doing double monster. So it's like 120, 240, 360. That's the wave, right? So that 360 jumps on you, bro. It's like a gorilla.
No, I'm totally.
So
agree.
now getting him to a 1 rep true grinder, but not multiple times a year.
Right.
But that would be interesting because then I think when he's on the platform and he does take that one that's hanging it out to dry, he's going to have that. There you go.
If you watch his lifting, he's so crazy. He's almost capable of anything.
He's crispy, man.
Yeah, he's 73 kilos, so he's 160 pounds.
Yeah.
And he cleaned 418. Just did it.
He's a freak.
He's not normal. But right now we're in what's called accumulation. So you would see exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like I'll show you a video I'm about to post of us going with monster bands. Not the minis.
You're choking stuff in there, right?
Yeah, with the blue bands.
Okay.
And it was incredible. It was like over 528 pounds and like he doubled it. And so, but the cool thing is I do like, I don't have to take him to a miss. I can take him to 0.3. 0.3 is the grind. It's just like, it's the grind before the, it's like
before the one that's questionable.
And then hang your spine out.
Yeah.
Because he's the top dude now. So like, at this point, we're at a point where I'm cruising into the Olympics.
Hell yeah.
And so like, you got to risk reward, if I get him 5 pounds stronger in the squat, is it worth the risk of getting, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you forgot to mention you're the Olympic coach.
Yeah. But, so like,
No big deal.
With that dude, what we do, this is crazy. Like if you were to come to the World Championships, you would see him like 3 days out, do what you think's a PR. I mean, he'll go to a PR, but it's a PR at 0.4 meters per second. So like every single, like you just go into my, the Match Elite Instagram and you'll see every single meet PR. A few days later, destroy. Next time, PR. But at 0.4.
Yeah.
And I already know, I know the answer.
You've never managed anybody like this before either, right?
No. Last quad taught me a lot.
Yeah.
About who I am and about like how I want to treat athletes. And so, no, I've never, ever taken so much into a human than this boy. Yeah.
That's cool.
And his teammates. I love his. He's got a bunch of teammates around him. They're just not in it this quad. They're the next wave. But yes.
Sick.
Yes.
Danny.
The one thing I keep thinking about too, and then just from doing your squat every day with the Olympic lifting mixed in.
Yeah, he did your full program.
Yeah. I mean, I went from like, actually did the 12-week wave twice in a row just because I was like, man, I'm onto something. The one thing that really stood out to me was when you'd go back to back on Monday, Tuesday with front squat. Yeah. With a belt and without a belt.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
his ideas.
Yeah. I mean, I knew how to use a belt, but like that really like helped me not have to rely on the belt.
Yeah. Programming a belt, no belt is like something people were missing for a long time.
Limits the load.
Yeah.
Like let's say I don't want them to go heavy. When we take the belt off, then they won't. We all know we're going to cut it short if we don't have a belt on. So it helps me do that without having to say that.
It's like another way of like conjugate too. Like even I would program flat soles over Olympic shoes too, and that my leverage is brutally different from that. Like all those little changes, I think people didn't realize how that could continue to make the body to get better.
That's a brilliant.
Long term.
I might go barefoot. That's a great.
It changes everything.
Right.
Yeah.
So
well, and then another thing too, like just on the spectrum of like, as you were coming up as an elite lifter, like were you like super married to like the percentage game? Or were you more going off of like instinct, or were you kind of like a blend or mesh of the two? Yeah.
Because with Westside, I learned a lot about the conjugate, and so I wanted to apply some of that, but I knew everything can't, because you do need to practice. Eventually you got to be really good at snatch and clean and jerk, and it's like baseball. Like a pitcher does not get better until they start pitching the ball. You got to. It's a rhythm. It's a rhythm and timing more so than like squatting or deadlifting. So.
Yeah, because I'm like just thinking about like with like a snatch or a clean and jerk, it's like sometimes they seem like they never align at the same time.
Yeah.
Like one is like feeling awesome and the other one feels like it's your first fucking day and you're like like what's going on? Like I could barely even hit 80 or 85%. So because obviously every day is not, as
Christmas.
you say, Christmas for everybody. So like how do you kind of approach like maybe a day that Ryan walks in, he's not feeling 100%?
Great question. So we use velocity to monitor fatigue.
You can see it.
The first movement of the day, whatever it is, at 85% of that, they do a pull. So if they're snatching, and when they get up in their warm-ups to 85%, they do a pull, and I've got the data that tells me where they're at in fatigue level. So like if they're 10% slower than normal, I'm going to shut them down at the very moment. And we're going to do like some light bodybuilding, and then we're going to take it to the house. If they're like 5% is normal. I beat you up for a reason.
There's a very
10% is dangerous. It's like I'm risking injury and something else is going on. So what they also do is fill out a subjective questionnaire. So they'll come in. It's like a 2-minute. There's like 3 or 4 questions, like how many hours of sleep. Well, on a scale from 1 to 5, 5 being terrible, how much stress are you experiencing outside of the gym that I'm not giving to you? And so like when I see the velocity is low and I go back and see the subjective questionnaire that's high, it opens up a conversation of like, what's happening? What is going on? How can I help you? Is it relationships?
That's cool, Travis. I think
That is a more comprehensive approach. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
very good.
It's got to be, man. It's a different era.
Yeah.
Like I'm not letting, let me say this. Like I think there's too many coaches in the world that they're so worried about proving to the world that they're the greatest coach that they don't do what it takes to actually be that. Like I'm more worried that you know something I don't than me proving to the world that I'm smarter than you.
Yeah.
That's what scares me.
It's crazy.
It keeps me up at night thinking there's somebody out there that knows something I don't. I don't give a shit what you think about me. I just want to know what I know. And so,
Fuck with that.
yeah.
That's real good.
Tight.
Cool.
Yeah, so I kind of want to go back to back squatting.
Sure.
So I'm a huge fan of the close stance. The close stance, and on back squat, I've been having to squat high bar because of shoulder placement. And I know you basically squat the similar way. So, like, is that something that you've already like, naturally done your entire career? Or were you eventually, like, a wide squatter and then...
I was never wide.
Never wide?
Yeah, I think that would be mostly everyone knows I love Louis Simmons and agree with a lot he says. But one of the things about everyone maximizing hips is, like, once you know anatomy, you know that can't be right. You think about, the anthropometrics of each person. Do they have long femurs, short femurs? Then you look at
Everybody's built so different. Yeah.
The hip is like, if you take all the different variations of the, the angle of the neck of the femur, or you talk about how your acetabellum is formed. There's so many variations. I can't imagine there'd be like hundreds of different variations each person could be. And then there's some people have deep hip sockets, like most people where I'm from. Like my people are going to come from
Appalachia.
yes, and we come originally from like the Scottish, the Irish, Highlands, which genetically have very deep hip sockets, meaning I'm going to be really strong and produce a lot of power, but my mobility is going to be iffy.
Drug a lot of trees out of the...
Right,
Yeah.
right. And so if I squat super wide, like, it's not that I can't get down. It's like there's bone on bone, it won't work.
Yeah.
So like, so I was more of a shoulder width at the most, at the height of my
That's pretty much where
powerlifting.
Cole's at too. Yeah.
Yeah. And so now I'm closer because I'm old and I have arthritic hips, and that's all I can do. So, but so no, there cannot be one.
It's really like, where's your power at?
Where's your power?
And
Yeah.
I remember reading about, like, I think it was even like the Russians, like when they would pick like the athletes when they're like 8 or 10 years old, they would see like who jumps, runs fast, and then where's the natural feet spot at? Like,
Right.
and that's where they're
Yeah.
going to start the squatting position at probably.
Right.
Like, where would you jump on that box at? You know what I mean? Now you're never going to jump like this. For some reason, that shit always felt really natural to me.
Yeah.
And that's why I've been able to
The
I think,
why-
put.
sure.
Yeah. But it's
Yeah.
like most people are like, I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. But for some reason, my geometry just always matched
Sure.
up.
Totally.
And it just is.
You
what
have
it is.
long legs.
Yeah.
If
and
you
it,
squatted close, it would be in a predicament.
yeah, it puts me. I just never felt as strong. So
Right.
that when I would program Olympic lifting shoes, weightlifting shoes, it would be so much more difficult for me.
Yeah.
It was like a 50-pound at least difference. So I knew when I went back to my chucks and I rode the bar lower, it was a fucking wrap. So if I was making 500, 520, whatever raw in my ollies, man, I was fucking, for meet day, I was ready to rock. So that was like one of the ways I did variation too.
I
So-
would have for sure gone wide if I thought it was going to help. But
especially with how tall you are, dude. You could have got to parallel quick.
Yeah, and like my biggest competitor, Vogelpool, who's from here, like he was super wide.
Yeah.
But I beat him, so like. it
I
was
brought
right,
that up in the
yeah,
group chat. I was like, I'm pretty sure Travis beat Chuck head to head at least once.
multiple times.
Yeah?
He only beat me.
I mean, you could just go and throw a story out there, Travis, if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, he only beat me once because I bombed out. That's all. The only once. My very first powerlifting meet back, I tied him. My very first one.
What was the total?
Oh, it was the very first WPO. It wasn't like 2050.
Yeah.
And like we tied, but he weighed in lighter.
Got
It was more than that. Like
You 220
Gotcha.
then?
Yeah.
242.
Yeah,
220. Yep.
so, but then from then on, like, and I won big time.
What was your game? Was your game always deadlift? Like, or I know obviously you were good at all three, but like, what was like your go-to? Like you
Honestly,
knew.
I would say because I'm all three. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't really have like he would squat maybe 20 pounds more.
Got it.
But then I would thrash him on bench press, and then we were equal
Right there on deadlift.
Yeah, we're staying.
So you were really solid on all three lifts. You didn't have one that was like overbearing.
No, I was approaching world records on all three, and then
Fuck yeah.
which in powerlifting you have to have, and
Yeah,
that was his. Okay, so let me with Vogelpool. He broke his neck when he was younger, and that was his demise right there because he couldn't bench.
Yeah.
The nerves were all messed up. The Matt Dimmel, I guess, like slammed him on his head and so broke his neck, and so had he been able to bench, I would imagine it would have been closer.
Yeah, his intensity was pretty fucking.
Yeah, I was a Chuck fan, even though I was beating him. He's just cool, But
Yeah.
he
Were
doesn't
you
like me
did
too
you get
much.
riled up like that or no?
No.
He's just
no,
pretty
kept it
mild-mannered.
inside.
Yeah.
Yes. I think most great athletes would do that. Like Cohen, you know, like you keep it in because when you get crazy, say you're getting crazy on squats.
Yeah.
By the time deadlift comes, you know, you're tired. And so,
That's true.
You save it. You know, you keep inner aggression, controlled aggression. So
the monolift that we got out here, Travis, I think was from like the first WPO. I'm almost positive. So like
it
I
looks
bought,
familiar.
yeah. So I bought it. It was in the side room at Louis, and I told him I was looking for one. This is like 2007 or 8 or something like that. And he's like, well, I needed one that's wider. Like the guys can't get their feet out wide enough. God. So he sold it to me for like $1,500.
Oh man.
I bring it in and I'm like, love it. A month later, he's like, well, I don't really like that one I bought. I think I'd like to get that one back, and then I'll just widen it out. I was like, sorry, I felt bad telling him no.
You're breaking out. You're breaking
Yeah. So, I was like, wait,
yeah.
So we have a pretty historic, I've seen it, that white monolift in a lot of videos, and I'm just like, is that our monolift? I'm pretty sure it is. That's got
epic.
Chuck doing 900, and like some of these ones like on their way up, it's pretty sick.
If it was in West Side, I'm guaranteeing.
I'm sure it was.
That was it.
so it's
wow, that's
it's pretty sick. So you'll have to give it a look when you roll out there.
I saw it. I already eyed it. The first thing I saw in your gym.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Walk in and see monolift reverse hyper. Oh, these guys know what's going on.
Your gym is just my style. Listen,
Yeah.
the only thing about being at a university is like it's too pretty, you know.
Yeah.
But they've given me the green light to like bring my own brand.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Dungeons
I mean,
and
like, get ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, because I told them, you know, it was at the end of the year. I was like, they're like, you seem disgruntled. I'm like, this room is too pretty. I was like, this can't be me. And then they're like, make it you.
What's your first move gonna be?
There's some mirrors. I would just throw those away. You know, I put one if people want to go in the bathroom and flex off. But like, you know, I don't like this. And they've got
So
like
good.
pretty like logo things. I want to put like, you know, post like this is like you get this. He's like put posters of either
like some of the
ours.
great lifters, man. Like that's always like, we don't have some of those back up in the gym, but we need to put them back up. But like you go in the dumbbell area and you get a big ass picture of fucking Arnold or Pyro or like that's what you
Right.
need, bro.
Right. You know, and our athletes love powerlifting, believe it or not. I mean, I'm their coach, and like I've been coach of 2 of them for over a decade each, and so they love powerlifting. So I would like to put some like Vogelpool posters.
Hell
up,
yeah.
You know, Cohen posters. Maybe one of me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's what I want. I like it. Just I want someone to like think they're punching in to go to work.
Hell yeah.
Not to be like I'm at some.
Well, and that's the one thing about those type facilities is that when somebody walks in this gym, and it's the same way I when I felt West Side, I wanted to try to mimic that. Like, you're putting your best foot
Me too.
forward.
Right.
And you don't want to be like, oh, well, I'm getting a fucking cappuccino. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Cappuccinos. Yeah.
So like, how many?
You drink that shit black.
Iced, you know? Like,
No ice.
no ice.
No ice.
So how many like weightlifters do you have on the team and everything? Or
25.
25.
Ooh,
And
that's
then
pretty-
how many times do you like? I mean, it probably depends, but how many times are they competing a year? Would you say?
Depends on the person, but
Yeah.
maybe 4
Maybe
on
4.
average. Yeah. You know, Ryan, because he's a junior and he's killing it. Juniors, there's below 20 in weightlifting, and then from 21 years old and up, you're a senior.
Okay.
And so he can do both still this year. So he's competing a little bit more than most, but we only peak at 2.
Gotcha.
So like,
Okay.
we'll just train through it and just be like we go heavy on Friday, so this will be your max effort day, and then so yeah.
It's like how we
That's
are.
how we roll.
Guys will be like, well, just jump in that meet. I'm going to squat Saturday anyway.
Yeah, you want to do it? Yeah. Fuck it.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I always liked about what Louis would talk about with the conjugate method is that they could drop at any time and go compete. And that's how our guys are too. And I'm proud of that because like I don't have to run. I mean, we'll run through our version of Circumax if we were getting ready for a big sanction meet or something. But the reality is that might only happen a couple times a year. A lot of the guys just like, fuck, I'm strong every day. So let's ride.
That's what we try. You know, with sometimes, like, and we're in this period right now where I've got 6 months before World Championships. Like, we might do things differently. Like, we might do extra hypertrophy, you know, depending on who you are. Like with Ryan, he's huge. So do we need to get bigger? Probably not. So we're going to work on imbalances.
There you go.
But he's still he's going to win. Look, you can't beat him right now, so don't get any hopes up. But like, he just won't beat you as bad.
There's the power lifter. I like that.
But so we're prepping. This is a big one.
Yeah.
This World Championships will be the first one that counts towards the Olympics. And this year, it all comes down to a total. You don't have to. Last time it was points, so you had to compete 6 times. You had to count 4 of those, and it was a points thing. This time it's straight.
It should be like who's strong.
Yeah, it's like who lifts the most, because nobody can get strong like that. Everyone's trying to go hard all the time.
Yeah.
And so the totals really petered out towards the end. So what you guys see at the Olympics is not as good as they could have been.
Yeah.
This time we're gonna, we're literally. I have a plan for the next 2 years. Things change.
Yeah.
It's just a skeleton, but I have priorities set up already, and so. The goal is to peak in 2024.
Where's the Olympics at?
Paris.
Paris.
So
Hell yeah. That's cool. Hell yeah.
So-
Trayvon.
I'm curious more about the velocity, with the bar speed, with testing it with athletes, like track athletes or football players and that kind of shit like that.
Trey's
question.
speed for a reason that we call him Trey Speed. He's super fast, and our bar speed's really fast too.
but my pastime, I love sprinting. And I love the whole world of strength and conditioning for sprinters. But when you take bar speed, the thing that I would do if I were a coach coaching track athletes or football, I would take them through a force velocity profile. So you basically take a movement, front squat, and deadlift. And so they start at 40%. They go 40% for triple, 45 for triple, 50, and all the way up to where they are going to either. You can pick a number to stop at. You could say 0.3, and you'd be stopping them short of a true. But in that, you see spectrums of what we all know. Now there's so much research. I know what you should be.
Yeah.
But when I find a flaw throughout that, then I attack that. So you got Ryan Grimsland. For some reason, between 50 and 60%, he was slower than normal. So literally for an entire 12 to 20 week block, we focused on not very heavy, right?
Yeah.
Going as fast as we could. And next thing you know, at the meet, he's like I said, 3 days early, he sets this massive PR. It was the beginning of all this.
Got it.
And so so you just
and you focused on 50 to 60%.
50 to 60%.
That's interesting.
Yes, so we would do a potentiation set. So they might work up to 85% for one, but then all the volume is it.
But you back down 50 to 60.
The majority of the time was 50 to 60%. But then his 1RM jumped up because if there's a problem along the strength curve, then sometimes nothing keeps moving.
I remember reading something Louis wrote about how some great Olympic lifter was hitting a bunch of numbers and didn't realize his volume had fell down, and then it wasn't really the conjugate or the one. It was literally his actual total amount of volume sets, and that might have been when they started adding it all up and doing all that type of stuff.
That's what we do.
But that sounds about the same. Where Ryan really needed more work in that 50 to 60%, and then it pushed up. That makes a ton of sense.
And the data that I keep, I can see how much of my time is spent focusing on snatch. Like you said earlier, it's hard to get snatch and clean and jerk. So through blocks, I will prioritize one and say that, right now his clean and jerk is killing everyone. So now we're bringing he's got a good chance of breaking a world record snatch.
That's sick.
So now we're bringing that. So you want to focus. So some coaches say, I need to focus on snatch. But, are you? How do you know? And so I know just to the degree how much time is spent on snatch, how much is on clean and jerk. A lot of times you think, that you think you're doing a certain thing. And one thing I've learned from, collecting all the data is we're wrong a lot. And so I know, I'm not guessing. I'm trying to go to Paris and win. So I'm not going to guess. We
haven't
can't
had
afford
Olympic
to.
gold in a while.
No, we Kate Vibert got a silver last year. And that opened up a lot of people's eyes.
At the Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so we just competed at Junior Worlds, Ryan did. And the two competitors were literally the two dudes who'll be battling in the Olympics. And he got bronze, but he hit the last clean and jerk to be gold in clean and jerk and to be silver overall. But they said he bobbled his elbow. I mean,
A wobble.
it was. But so we're there. We're and the thing is that we're not on drugs.
Yeah.
So we right now a lot of the other countries are starting to taper back on drugs.
Yep.
Because their drug testing is going up. And so I'm watching their totals go down.
Oh, yeah.
Meanwhile, ours is going up. So, you know,
How's that feel, Travis?
it feels good.
Yeah.
It feels good. I hate losing. So, you know, if you want a coach that just, you know, I was talking about this last night with Mark Cannella, who's Columbus weightlifting town. If the goal of USA weightlifting to become, you know, it becomes that they just want a nice little, like, sunny club or something, I am not your guy.
No.
You know, immediately I'm out, and it's okay. We'll part, you know, I'll still be your friend, but I can't be a part. I'm not losing. Like, I do that, you know.
Yeah.
You know, my stepfather taught me one thing a long time ago. He's like, if two people are in the room, it's okay if you're the one that wins. And for some reason, when he said that, things clicked, and I was like, I can still be their friend, but I'm going to beat them. And so, you know, I don't know what happened that day, but it flipped my whole world upside down.
Well, I come in here every day to beat everybody. It hasn't happened in a long time, but I mean, I'm still walking in thinking, I'm not fucking losing to that guy. I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to beat this guy. It's a little bit few and far between nowadays, but that's how I feel, Travis.
I feel humbled now. My athletes is like, I don't even try to mess with that anymore. Like, I know I can beat them on deadlift, so once in a while I'll do that.
Yeah.
That's coming. This kid Ryan is just like,
Yeah.
he's a next level athlete.
But even like what's been cool, even though I'm the only one wearing briefs and stuff in the group, it's some of the top guys. Like I said, we had Brian squatted 700, you know, Tyler Galbraith 600, Matheny. Like these guys are all pushing 600 plus, and it's like they don't care that I'm in briefs. They just want more people under the bar at that level. So they're still trying to beat me. So there's still that competition. So I still get the, you know, I'm still in it with
Feel
them.
the battle.
Yeah. So it's like, to me, it's kept me young and excited about the sport. And then being able to go, you know, challenge ourselves to go do that bodybuilding show. And then the next day, which you'll appreciate this.
I do. Your trifectas are in.
Yeah, the trifecta was awesome. But go the next day after a bodybuilding show and then squat 694 at 81, you know, drug-free as a master. But the world, like, so it would be like all the AAPFs, all the drug-tested powerlifting history. 181, you know, 40 to 44 is 694.46. That's the world record all time.
That's what you're going after?
Well, so Cole is my knee guy, my rap guy, right? Amazing. We looked at the fucking sheet.
The fucking sheet said it was right over.
0.5. Said it was 694.5. So I was like, you know what? And dude, I was a little tired from the day before. I was like, I'll just take it because it's only beating it by a smidge. It was 0.4 on the internet, but I didn't know it was rounded up on the sheet. It was 0.46. So I took the same fucking weight.
So you missed by 0.06.
And I weighed 1 pound less.
Oh,
So I basically am number 2 all time.
So you got to go back and get that.
Yeah. So it was a little frustrating because I trained that whole time because I was number, I think 8 or something like that when I went into it. And I was like, I can have the number 1 squat, multiply, blah, 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 whatever. And fucking, I thought I took it. I'm all pumped. I make it.
I'd be so mad.
It comes out on open powerlifting.
You're like,
and I'm like, fuck, 694.46. Are you fucking kidding me? I just would have took another, you know, a fucking half pound.
You could have sprinkled some chocolate.
Yeah, I know. So, but I was super proud of not only being able to make that, but also to do it after the show, obviously, which was crazy.
Like, how does that work? So, like, what did you weigh in at the bodybuilding?
So it's the opposite. I had to weigh 81 for the powerlifting meet.
Okay.
So then luckily I look lean around 180, which is good because I would normally, if I was doing a bodybuilding show just by itself, I would probably go to like 174, 170. I'd be in that weight class, right?
Yeah.
But I knew I needed to weigh 81 right on the nose so I could bloat up for the powerlifting the next day.
I see.
So basically, as soon as I'm walking off stage, I'm starting to bloat. I got to the meet, I weighed 96.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Yeah, I think I went to bed at 198, woke up at 196. All of my gear fit unbelievable.
What did you do to gain the weight?
Oh, it's the most fun of all time. It's like immediately. So these guys were riding with me. I had already had Bob Evans like in the car. So it was like I was smashing pancakes, salting everything, and then it was Arby's, and then it was pizza and chicken noodle soup superset. Amazing. Wow. It's like you're eating a piece of pizza and you're drinking chicken noodle soup broth. So it was.
You could see him.
Ballooning.
Oh yeah, when my eyes look fucking terrible, like you look like a fucking train wreck. can't see your wiener. And then it's like, but you go in the back room, and then mind you, I hadn't touched a bar without fucking 360 pounds of bands on it for a month.
Right.
And so I get up under, I think I took 500 in the back room, like, you know, straps down, whatever, and it literally felt like the bar is fucking empty. So I opened up at, I think I opened up at 600.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I went 600, 650, 694.46.
So you guys don't do any like straight weights now. It's all bands or what?
After the cycle of like 3 weeks of band, so we'll go. So like this cycle right now, we're on our first week is 120 pounds this week. It'll be 240 next week, 360, and then we'll do a week without bands.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but we'll usually test against a camber bar, bow bar, or the safety bar.
Not a true.
Not usually, unless they're getting ready for a meet, which some of the guys are competing September 17th at a local meet. So we'll kind of like change the cycle to let them, so their day when they take it without bands will be that weekend. So that's like our Circa Max basically.
Yeah, I like that.
Or mini.
But that's I wouldn't do any, like just straight weight, would they?
But it was always box. It was just so we ran a true West Side cycle like that a long time ago, and I think because none of the guys wear briefs, and then no one really bought. Like we went to the meet and looked like no one knew how to squat. Yeah, literally like we only box squatted the whole time. I was like, I'm not fucking doing this no more.
I agree with you. I think that's another one of their weaknesses.
Yeah.
None of them looked comfortable squatting.
No,
like like if you watch a weightlifter, they look. And I was used to that. I'm like, you guys just look like, if you get this perfect little groove, you'll squat a lot.
Something
you might not squat anything. You might miss a lot.
That was the one thing that drew me to wanting to front squat program more. One, I didn't think as a drug-free athlete I could probably recover from back squatting super fucking heavy every day, right?
Agreed.
But with the programming of 3 of this and 3 count here and a pause and a band, I could program enough to be able to recover because I'd be at 4 total reps on my front squat and I'd be done. And then I'd be moving on to everything else. And I just realized that, like, man, I need to get comfortable in that hole with that bar and that, like, and be able to move like that. Because if I can sit, I remember I sat in the hole with a 10 count with 315 on a front squat. And I just remember thinking, and when I came out of there, I just felt like a different guy. I don't know how. Yeah, it like makes you feel like a little bit meaner.
Yeah, You're not worried about. I hope I stick this groove. No, like you just get really good at squatting.
Well, you become an expert because you're under it all the time. Like I squatted every day for like 3 years straight. Like I learned so much about myself. I was a fucking maniac. I'd go in the morning and miss a weight in my basement, half pass out, come back in the evening, be like, fucking, I know I just missed something on that, and I'd make it. I was just practicing the movement without being scared.
Amen. Amen. I think if you look at Ed Cohen and watch him, he looks so, like watching him move, he just looks so technical and so good at what he was doing. I think the thing Chuck was missing is he never looked like a master of the movement. He looked like, a
mean motherfucker that if you hit it, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap, but he probably won't hit it, So if you look at like, there's a Yuri Belkin, this guy from, from Russia. Like I love because he is.
So what deadlifts like 9 something, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's getting close to his 1,000 marker at 100 kilo at 220. And so you watch that guy and you see he's a master of his craft. Yeah. And so like the weakness of Westside would be they never look like a master of the movement. Mm-hmm. They look very strong and incredible, and that they have powers people don't have, but they don't look good at what they do. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No.
That was the one thing I didn't.
Well, because there'd be a lot of ratcheted big squats, you know, and there was some like I remember watching Sean Frankel total something crazy, and all his moves look, and then Ramos looked like that from time to time, and some of the guys with the bench seemed like it was a little bit smoother, but yeah, that was like probably one of the knocks. Guys were opening up super heavy, a lot of guys were bombing out, and every so often then it would hit something that's so astronomical that'd be crazy, but that's what drew me towards the Olympic lifting, like Bulgarian thing. I'm like, if I can get comfortable doing that, how am I not better? It's just it's impossible not, because I'm getting uncomfortable. I'm in the most uncomfortable spot. And if I remember like teaching clients and having young athletes, they're so comfortable to go to depth, uncomfortable to go to depth. But when that's not scary anymore,
when you're good at that movement,
then
it's like it's not scary because it's what you do. It's just like I squat.
So John Bros is just like walking to the store. Yeah. He's like, why? Well, I walked to the store yesterday. Why can't I walk tomorrow? Like in the next day, just like squatting. Like he said it like that. I was like, it's kind of fucking true.
You're
Like,
that. You're that. We put these arbitrary numbers on things. Like, I need 72 hours. I'm like, says who? Like, why?
Yeah.
You know, based on what science? And so, John, and several people have proven it. Not just him, but you know, the Bulgarians. Yes, they were on drugs, but there's plenty of people in America who train like Bulgarian-ish, and they're fine. It's just like you do the volume that you as a human can do.
I started doing these methods at 37 years old. Like a lot of people,
that's
like,
cool.
you know what I mean? Like 35, 37, like that's, and I hit my best numbers in my entire career during that. Like I wasn't cleaning 300 fucking pounds till I started doing it. Like I never did any of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's
you
like,
start doing it.
and then going to fucking power lift, you know, fucking 575 and like on deadlift. Like none of that shit was happening for me until I started doing that methodology. And then I was and then I was adding 400 and 800 meter lunges after. And I did that shit for like fucking
You still
years
do that
and years.
lunch it's crazy.
Yeah, I'm on. So I got a new streak right now. Is a 200. Today was day 276, and of 800 mostly. But I've done 400 about 12 of those days between competitions and maybe having something kind of banged up or whatever. But yeah, most of them have been 27 minutes or 800 meters.
What does your heart rate get to when you're doing that?
Never tracked it.
I'm curious. Like,
Well, so here's what I always say, and this
Depends.
is how, and this is how I've almost explained all of my training, the instinctiveness, right? Is like, it's some weird area of in between like steady state cardio but the calorie burn that I felt when I used to do sprint work.
Right.
So I get the same metabolic rate, or not the same metabolic like lift if I was doing sprint work is what it feels like.
Right.
But then it's similar heart rate wise to a steady state cardio. But then I'm getting lactic acid threshold pushed to another level. My connective tissues increased to another level. My like GPPs increased. So it's like everything's talking what I'm using all the time. So when that all kind of made sense to me, and then I was like, all right, well, I'll just do an actual bodybuilding show by using this as my condition, my cardio. But then I flipped around and my lifts weren't going down. As I went to one of these photo shoots, I remember, you know, back in the MP days, I would go to one of the photo shoots and I could barely like squat 225. I look amazing, but I was like ready to break.
Yeah.
And then once I figured this out, the last couple shoots I did right before I left, I remember squatting 405 in the fucking magazine shoot in my lifters, and I was like, oh, I feel like different.
I think that keeps a lot of people from doing. But I mean, I know in college, I started getting ready for bodybuilding, and then my strength dipped so much. I'm like, no, I can't do this.
Yep.
You know, like it was just like one day, like, you know, like 315 was heavy on bench. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
fuck this.
That's amazing.
So that was the last day. I'm like, I can't do it. And so, but you know, I think there's a lot of people who've proven now that you can. You know, what's the big powerlifter who's also a bodybuilder? He's a great dude. He is jacked. He's smart. He's super smart. Oh, Efferdine, Stan Efferdine.
Oh, Stan Efferdine, yep.
Like, I doubt he's ever weak, you know?
Yeah.
You know, so,
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, he showcased that you could do it at an IFBB level plus do big numbers because he was training with Mark Bell and those guys and was squatting like 800. I mean, it was like insane.
I'll be here in October, by the way. The Swiss Symposium.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's downtown.
I'm talking.
Have
I
you ever
know.
done that before?
No.
Dude,
never.
that's huge, Travis. Congrats.
I'm excited. Thank you.
Yeah,
You know,
that's a big nod. So like the Swiss conference, Dr. Serrano's talked at it for fucking forever.
Ever.
But it's never been in America.
right. And
So I've never went to it. I need to make sure and go to it.
I've watched videos and participated. You know, I bought their stuff online because, you know, Ed will be there. I'm talking with Brian Mann, who's like, he's like my mentor with Velocity.
Yeah.
He's done all the research, this guy.
That's awesome.
So if you Google velocity-based training, he's going to come up. But
Got it.
So we're speaking together because, you know, he's the research. You know, I'm actually using it.
Application.
And I'm doing, you know, like my thesis was velocity. So like, and he's.
Oh, your thesis in school?
Yeah. And
That's
he
dope.
was on my board. So it's going to be really cool to talk with him. You know?
Well, and just like that's like the biggest, really esteemed conference that I'm aware of. I don't really pay attention to a lot of that stuff, but it's pretty sweet.
I wanted to get the
nod.
Yeah, so I'm excited to get it and come here.
It's in October?
Yep, it's October.
Yeah, I need
Elite is a part of it.
Yeah,
I think it's
yeah.
at Elite maybe, but I don't know for sure.
That's cool.
Anyway, so it's gonna be fun. So October 28th.
Hell
If
yeah.
you're around, that'd be.
Yeah,
really
I
cool.
definitely need to go listen to some speakers. Danny, we'll go back through one more time. What else you got?
Yeah. So I'm going back to the weightlifting world, just like throughout the years, either what's one of your favorite lifts or like what is one of the like most favorite lifts you've witnessed live?
Okay.
Great question, Danny. And your arms are looking small. Go ahead.
They are kind of
I'm
small.
gonna have to go. There's two. There's Ryan Grimsland at the Arnold this past year. It was like his coming of age. It's like he had bumped up to the 73 kilo class because we had to. Then the Olympics, they announced that 67 kilos would not be a class, so we bumped.
They always
up.
change
They changed
shit
them,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yes, and we were going head to head with the top, and I thought he was ready, and like I bet one of the other coaches, I was like, he's in a total 320 kilos. So I was predicting he was about to hit this huge total, and no one thought he could have gone up 30 kilos. And then, so at the Arnold was by far, he hit the 180, and like all of a sudden, he goes 6 for 6, totals 320, destroys everyone, and then because he's really quiet, out of the blue when he got the down signal, it was a 400-pound cleaner at 182. He slams it, and then he goes to the front. It was on the main stage. Too.
Yeah.
And like pretends he's slitting his wrist and drinking his own blood.
Fuck yeah.
Damn.
That's some John North shit.
Yeah, that's fucking
Yeah.
gangster.
Except he's actually good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love John North, but he was never at the level of this kid.
No, yeah,
And
yeah.
so he just
slit his wrist
out of
Damn.
'cause, we all
That's a
wait for
fadeaway,
John North to
bro.
say something.
Yeah.
But this kid never does, and out of the blue,
So you were completely like,
I had no idea.
How fired up are you?
Oh, my
You probably about ripped your shirt off.
Like it was just
like a
such
proud
moment.
dad
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, man. Think about this: when you coach a kid from when he's just a kid, he's a baby.
Yeah.
His mom brings him to you, and he's like, "Can you?" He was doing CrossFit, and she was like, "Can you make him stronger for CrossFit?"
Yeah.
And then now this kid is like the top weightlifter in America, and he slits his wrist in front of them at the Arnold. and like,
Watching like Game of Thrones or something.
Yeah.
Behind that one.
That's pretty
On the
fucking
main
epic.
stage.
and like you have Coach Ken, he's a 9-year NFL strength and conditioning coach.
Oh, yeah.
He's sitting here. Mike Gattone, who's like the head coach. Like when we go say to Tokyo, Mike Gattone will be the coach for everyone.
Yeah.
And so he's sitting there, and you hear everyone, and just
Did the
That's
place
so-
go crazy?
it was like
Yeah.
it was
So
chaos.
epic.
Electric.
Because he just became from this
The
young
guy.
kid to this man.
It was
Yeah.
just a separator.
It was. And so I knew at that moment, like, we weren't just going to make the Olympics. We were going to win.
Fucking win the Olympics.
Exclamation point.
And so this
I just
kid,
got chills.
So did
yeah,
I.
we don't even look anymore at the American records.
Yeah, why
we
would
simply
you?
look at, I'm like, this kid is like, it's like I feel like sometimes I'm like, did I know your mom when I was in college? Because like, you're so much like me,
Yeah.
And so this kid is just, but like, anyway, so this kid is, that was the one. And two, there was a girl, Hunter Elam.
Oh, yeah, I know Hunter,
And she,
yeah, like all the guys are like, yeah, we know Hunter.
Shout out.
Yeah,
Shout
no
out.
free shout outs.
So she, she moves out of the blue from Oklahoma, comes and her goal. We had all the time. People are like, oh, I want to make the world team. I want to be Team USA, and it happens all the time. And you tell them, well, okay, maybe here's what it takes, And so she listened and she did every little thing. And at the time, I was there, and Don McCauley was my assistant coach, and he was there. And I let athletes be coached whoever fit them the most. So she was with Don for a while, and it wasn't working. And so she's like, before I just quit, let me just try you. And then we just started on fire. And so we're at this meet. This is maybe the craziest thing in weightlifting. We're at the meet. We're at it was just like one of the American Open Series. It's a national meet, but it's not the big one. But it was the final qualifier for the Worlds. And so we knew the number to hit. So there was, so she doesn't snatch very well. I think she only got one snatch. So now we're in the hole. So now to make the team, she's got to hit 121 kilos, so 266 pounds, clean and jerk.
What's she weigh?
So she's 138 pounds
Okay.
at the time. So we say, look, I was like, there's no point in opening up with anything other than the 121.
I
And I'm
fucking
like,
love that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets better. So we're warming up, and she looked terrible. She missed her last 3 warm-ups. It wasn't like she was missing the jerk, where
Yeah.
it was technical. She was getting spit out, like shit on by the ball.
Damn. Shit
And I'm
buried.
like, so like when she missed her final warm-up, she looked at me and put her arms up. I was like, we came here to make this team. And so she's like, all right. She's like, I trust you. I was like, you got this. And I said, you saved a lot of energy.
You missed all the lifts.
Yeah.
You didn't stand up.
You're pulling from the depths right here. Yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
It was like you didn't stand anything up, you didn't jerk anything, so you should feel good, So we're walking to the stage, and Spencer Arnold, who's my buddy, he owns Power and Grace, and he's an amazing coach. He's like, what do you think? I'm like, we're screwed. There's no chance. But I was like, but we came for this moment, and somehow she goes out there and hits that weight. It was crazy.
On the first attempt?
On the very first.
You shut it down after that?
Shut it down.
Yeah.
Dude, that's fucking awesome.
So I think that
So
was
she went 2 for 6.
and made a world.
Damn.
and like it lit the whole world of weightlifting has never been the same.
Yeah.
Because people were saying he's crazy. We told you he's lost his mind.
Oh, with her opening up at that.
Yeah, because I'm the powerlifter. They
Yeah,
think
of course.
that I'm the
You're some
powerlifter.
brute.
I
Yeah.
fucking love
all I
that.
care about is
Yeah.
lifting heavy.
Yeah.
And like, so everyone's like, oh, see, we told you he's crazy. She should get a different coach. Out of the blue, bam! I'm like, boom.
And there's the power lifter.
Yeah. And then they're all like, oh, you're so smart.
Oh, yeah.
Get the hell out of here.
That's so good.
There's a big in weightlifting. There's a huge problem. There's the culture. In powerlifting, if I were to compete against another team, at that night we would eat together, and I would ask him questions, and he would ask me questions, and I would learn from him, and he would learn from me. In weightlifting, it's all I feel like the culture is this. All the coaches care about is that they want the whole world to think that they're the best coach at all costs. So they will literally say whatever they can say to demean the other coach, to make people not think that coach is good.
America's the team. That's what they got to be thinking.
Damn right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here to win.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you know something I don't, that's
Yeah.
cool. I'll tell everyone you're better than me. But tell me what you know so I can help my
Yeah.
athlete.
Dude, you can feel it even when you're in the back room. Like, you
Yes.
can just feel it on them. Like, it's so easy
It's
to tell.
terrible. It's the reason
so weird.
why.
Yeah.
This will be I'll go to this Olympics, do my thing, and then this will be it. And so the culture needs to change. So any weightlifting coach, you guys need to get your shit together.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Well,
worry about
what I
winning.
like about those moments is the same thing I see with our guys. Like Trey just had one of these, right? Trey does his first meet. I wrapped his knees, but not the way he likes them. Whatever. The first time he misses the first squat. Come up the second time, he didn't hit depth. He came up too early. So then I walk back and I go, all right, bro. Like I'm gonna wrap the absolute shit out of your knees.
Yeah.
Just fucking squat the bar. I'm not calling you. We're not doing just go up. But
squat.
it's that moment where you as an athlete have to make a decision, right?
Yeah.
Am I willing to go to hospital on this meet to stay in?
Yes.
Am I going to do what it takes? Am I going to step up? The lights now are done. Like it's just there. My favorite part is the fucking lady on the mic always wants to announce it. Trayvon needs us to stay in the meet.
As if that's helping.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like, thank you.
Because I had the same thing happen at a section meet years ago. I kept going up in weight, and I'm sure you've done this before too. And it's
Yeah.
like, of course, the same fucking kilo shit, 699.7. I'm like, and it's like, this guy needs this to stay in the meet. I looked at the biggest guy. Close, and I go, I'm just gonna drop in and try to come back up. So will you just stand back here to make? Because literally, I was just trying to work off the suit because I was gassed.
Yeah.
And so it's like one of those things. But I like to see how people react in those moments because
Right.
the gamers step the fuck up, and you don't all. It's not 10 for 10 all the time. I've fucked this
No.
up too.
Yeah.
But the guys are 8 for 10 most of the time. I fuck with that.
They're different. They're different.
That's the built different that they're talking about.
Ryan is different and Hunter is different.
Yep.
I think Hunter right now maybe has lost that belief in herself, but she's different.
Yeah.
Of
It's
all
there.
the yes. She's not
Is
even
that
my
something you
athlete
can
anymore.
teach? You think?
Man, I don't know. You can encourage it, but you can't make a lamb a lion.
Okay.
I can make a lion a tougher lion, but I can't make a lamb a lion.
Yeah.
So you gotta have
it's
something.
like, do you go towards that fire or do you run away from it? And so
Sure.
I feel like I can see a lot about a lifter once I put him under a real weight and
Yes.
see how he fucking, I'd rather a motherfucker take it fearless and miss it, and I got to pull it off him
Right,
every
then be
day of the week.
scared. Then
There
be
you go.
scared. It's a huge. One thing I've learned in my studies, it was like I took a sports psychology, which I was rolling my eyes. I think I went into that thinking, what are they going? Psychology is such a bullcrap field.
Yeah.
There's no real science, and I was wrong. And so, like, one of the things I learned the most was this, is that everybody feels certain things. When you're going to you go to the Olympics, no human on earth doesn't get anxiety. No one's not a little scared. It's the anticipation of that feeling that makes some people, like Ryan, a killer, and some people fold. It's like some people feels it and they're like, I'm scared.
I'm enamored by that.
Yeah. Me too.
Because I don't know if I tricked myself, but I just told myself I was a fucking gamer.
Right.
I'm built. This is what I was born to do.
Right.
Put me in the fucking, like, I want the fucking ball. My
Yes.
jumper's a little broken, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
Totally.
but it's like
not wet.
But yeah, it's no, jumper's not wet. So it's like, but when I walk up to that moment to get that squat, because we shot a documentary too, which we haven't put it together yet, but around this whole thing of the two sports,
right.
Doing the bodybuilding show, the powerlifting, and I was like, I have to make this weight. This is what I've been building up to. But I just remember thinking, and this is the other thing I started coming up with. I tell myself, I'm like, if I can unrack it, I can fucking squat it. I really believe that. And I think once you start getting scared, you're done.
You're done.
Right?
100%.
Stop being an athlete.
Especially on that.
Yeah.
Some kids will never even get past that.
Yeah.
They never they're scared forever. And then some of the best
Don't be scared
athletes I've
forever.
coached,
Yeah.
are like, they just get nervous and they can't get past it. And I even tell them, like, I was like, you are really good. You need to focus on, counseling, sports psychology. You need to learn how to, take this anxiety and, like, turn it into your favor. Like, Ryan feels that like a superpower.
Hell
Same
yeah.
as me.
That's how I am
feel
too.
like I can do anything because of this. Some people feel it like I'm scared. They feel like they're scared. I don't know.
I'm looking for that moment to test myself.
Yes.
Like, because you don't get those a lot as an older athlete much, right? So it's like I'm excited for that spot because I want to see how I fucking do.
Right.
I'm like I need it. That's like the.
Have you ever encountered, like, with any of your athletes, like they get to that certain number where and they just can't get past it?
And it normally breaks them.
Yeah.
A certain few find a way to get through it. And certain people, that's the breaking. And it comes. In weightlifting, everybody loves it for 2 years. It's like, oh, it's so cool. I can do a snatch. And, because it is a beautiful thing. You're lifting very heavy weights so quickly. Your body's moving through space. Like,
it's awesome.
Looks like you're a gymnast, but you're super strong.
It's so cool. Yeah.
And so, but then that to your mark happens. And you actually got to work. And there's not a PR every week. And you got to find a way. But the people that quit, I mean, some of them, if they do listen, I mean, you need to figure out what I'm about to tell you. The people who stop right there, that's going to be the pattern. They're going to business.
In life,
it's fun. You hit business, and like all of a sudden you have competition. How do you react? It's life, man.
It's life.
You're going to meet a girl in college, and there's going to be you, and there's going to be another dude. What are you going to do? You're going to back down. You're like, oh, I can't beat this dude. Come on, like it'll be a pattern.
Yeah,
for sure.
And like my pattern is win. I'm winning. So,
my pattern is win.
Yeah.
I quoted it.
I love it. Go ahead, Cole.
Well, first, I want to get back to, like, the moment of anticipation.
Yeah.
I found
fuck with that.
I don't know what it was. It might have been football in high school, but before every game in powerlifting now, that sense of anticipation, like you're nervous, but it's for no fucking reason because you know exactly what's going on. My way of coping with that is just to go fucking ultra crazy before it happens.
Right.
Like on football, like as soon as you hit the first person, it's fine. It's out the
That's
window.
true.
That's right.
So what I used to do is just look at someone, just fucking start headbutting them. I attack it with fucking pain and crazy.
Yeah. So what do you do in powerlifting, Cole?
Yell or dump the bar in the back room, start some shit like that.
Hey, tell them your story about the first time you did a multiply meet.
So
This is awesome.
First time I did a multiply meet, I had trained in single ply a few times, and I spontaneously signed up for this meet. And Corey's just like, "Hey, you've been spawning in single ply. Why don't you just fucking do multiply and see what happens?"
Hey, just come to the house. I got one that'll fit you.
So literally the day before, I go to Corey's house just to see if like the suit will fit. So I try it on. Never fucking take a weight. Never do anything in it. Go to the meet. We're in the warm up.
It sounds
room.
like a bad idea.
Yeah, so I go to the meet. I'm in the warm up room, and I work up, do all the normal things, and I take 405, and 405 is a super fucking lightweight at that time.
Yeah.
It's nothing to be worried about. No wraps, nothing, no fucking belt, whatever. Fucking go down, I can't get back up. I had to fucking dump the weight. There's a bunch of like strength coaches who are like, oh my God, you're going to fucking get someone hurt. Get like, what the fuck?
A bunch of other
doing?
multiply
Shit
guys like, what the
that.
fuck are you doing?
Yeah, so it basically looked like a fucking buffoon in the back room.
I know. Yeah.
And then
I've seen this happen.
yeah, then
I'm like-
I think I ended up like squatting
Squad like 630.
it was like 635 or something like that. Super good rep, and those guys were like, nice. I'm like, yeah, man.
There
It was
was
just a great
kid,
fucking time.
There was a young boy. He was like 18, but he was like one of these young phenoms, and so like he's at the WPO with us. So right away, I mean, I'm the dude. I'm looking at him like, who's this young kid? You know? And then he goes to like it was like 5 something. He's gonna take it raw, and he asks me to spot him. I'm like, okay, I'll spot you. And then he dumped it on me.
Oh!
I'm like, yeah, the poor kid.
Yeah.
Like, I lit into him.
Yeah, of course.
I'm like, we are professionals here. You know, like this poor kid. Anyway, he puts his suit on, so he misses like 505 raw terribly. Puts his suit on, goes out and does 800. Like, an 18-year-old boy. And I'm like, I was like, I give you credit.
Yeah.
Don't miss the
Don't ever fucking
Don't
do
fucking
that.
kill me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, be a professional. I was like, and don't ask me to spot you ever again, you know?
Yeah, I would have not said yes to that one, Travis.
I tried to be the nice one, you know. There was Chuck.
Yeah.
Everyone's afraid of, and so I was trying to be the nice one.
You're the nice guy.
I was the last time. I'm like,
Check that box.
I'm
Yeah.
like, he's like, hey, Mr. Mass, will you spot me? I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm like, okay, man. Yeah, you're 18-year-old boy.
Yeah.
But then he dumps it on me. I'm like, sorry.
That's like against the rules.
That
Like,
poor kid, I can't imagine how he felt now. Think about it. I don't remember his name. And so, anyway, so I understand.
Yeah.
I don't. I've watched it happen.
But
Wait, was somebody spotting you?
No, it was
Okay.
no one was spotting me.
That's
Like no
good.
one.
That's better.
Somehow
Yeah, yeah.
someone was like recording a Snapchat just randomly, and they fucking caught it on video,
That's
which
right,
is
'cause you
hilarious.
said it to me.
Yeah,
This world.
but I think there's something to be said about just it was literally, do I fucking got it in me? Can I pull this off? Just going out
Yeah.
there into the world of unknown, be like, fuck it, whatever happens, happens.
I
I think
Sometimes-
there's
that
some
part.
greatness to be said.
Well, you know why? Because there's no expectation.
Right.
Exactly.
And I
Yeah.
think when you lift without expectation, sometimes you do better.
Meats,
Like,
yes.
I've went to meets
Totally.
and it was like, oh, I just decided to do it 2 days ago. I had to make weight and go, and then
That's the best way.
yeah, you just fucking rock, bro.
You're like, let's go have fun.
Less thinking.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
people mess
It's supposed
up,
to. It's supposed to be fun.
It's supposed
still.
to be fun. Where they mess up is they look at the meat as something that's not.
Yep.
It's like it's not life altering. It could be a worlds. It could be the Olympics. At the end of the day, it's still weightlifting. It's still everything you do every single day.
Yeah.
Nothing is different. It's just a different venue. It's the same people. When assuming we make the Olympics, when he goes there, it'll be the exact same people that we've competed against for the last 4 years.
Nothing's different.
Nothing is different. It only is
Drilling
if he
that
makes
in,
it.
drilling that in his head starting now is really important.
He's a different bird, though, man. We'll be at the Worlds, at the junior. We were in Greece at Junior Worlds, and he's like yawning. I'm like, "Are you all right?" He's like, "Yeah." There was like, he was the calmest
Chilling.
dude.
Yeah.
And then in the back, I don't know. This kid is different. He hits his last warm up on snatch, and he slams it. And he's like, "Let's go to work, boys." He said it to everybody, to all these kids. And I'm like, "I love you, man." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he was just
That
like,
confidence is
Yeah.
really starting out.
"Oh, dude." He's so
When you're
confident.
really that elite and that strong and you just know it,
Yes, if you do
like
the
that's
things,
just a different.
that's another thing, Corey. Is
Yeah.
like, if you do the things necessary
Yeah.
to be at your very best, you know. Only time I see people get really nervous is when they did not do the things, and
Yeah.
they know it, and they get there. One of my athletes who's been with me forever, he was like Matt Weiniger, he's going to be Team USA very soon. He's amazing, and so he went to a meet 2 years ago, and he bombed. And here's why: because maybe 2 or 3 weeks prior to that, he goes to Vegas on a bachelor party. And he's like, "Do you mind?" I'm like, "Yes, I mind." He's like, "We have the Nationals in 3 weeks." I'm like, "Are you trying to do this, to sabotage yourself?" I said, "But go ahead and go see what happens." So he's at the meet. He's pale because he's nervous. He knows he's not prepared.
Yeah.
So he bombs. I'm like, "When you want to call me, come to my room and let's talk about this." And so he did. And from that moment on, he's like killing it.
Yeah.
He's never nervous at the meet. He doesn't do those dumb things. And he's finally, he's been the kid I knew was amazing since he was 10 years old. But he just did not do the things he needed. He was shitting on himself. And so now he's finally embraced it. So he'll be my next
Hell yeah.
incredible. If I can just I don't know that I'll stay another Olympics, but he will be the next dude. So
Sick. Trevon?
I don't have another question or anything, but like to go off of like the anxiety like thing
Yeah.
like that. I mean, that's how like I felt from like my meet. Like I didn't even like train for it.
Yeah.
Literally just basically like signed up for a powerlifting meet
and
like,
have fun.
Yeah. Like,
And missed elite by what, 20 pounds or something
yeah,
like
almost,
that? Yeah.
almost went elite.
Sweet.
Yeah, he
I did a
squatted.
strongman once. Same way.
Yeah.
Somebody's like, "Do you want to do this?" It was in Colorado. I was like, "Do you want to do a strongman meet?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I won. And so it was insane.
Of course.
And I almost started down the path of the world's strongest man.
Yeah.
But then it was like the same time where I was like started falling apart. I was like, it was the end, It was like
Yeah.
boom, 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 all the, elbow, shoulder, hip. But it was definitely on my radar. But then my
So
body
Trey's
was
first
like,
meet, he
no.
goes 454 squat, 480 deadlift at 148. And then what'd you bench? 2.25.
Yeah, like 225.
So he totals 1,200. What was your total?
11. It was like
1180.
1160
You should
or
be a
something
yeah.
like that.
weightlifter.
Yeah, I mean, he's so
Yeah.
explosive.
How
It's
old are
wild.
you?
22.
20, yeah.
22, yeah.
So he
track,
was recruited
yeah.
at Akron.
Yeah, I ran track in college.
I figured. Yeah.
Yeah.
I work with the Jamaican sprinters.
Okay.
And like, it's my favorite.
Those guys are
thing.
beasts.
Yeah, we're about to go again, but yes, they're different.
They do a lot of conjugate stuff, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, you would think. So I went there assuming I was going to find out like ancient secrets.
Yeah.
They're the best.
Yeah.
They're just amazing. Is all they are. It's like
Yeah.
their programming is like very old. There's not a lot of science. It's coming though.
Yeah.
They're but like Johan Blake is like their top
Yeah,
guy
I
now.
know, yeah.
That's who we work with the most. And like
Because he was on the relay team with Usain, right?
Yeah.
and he is the second fastest. No one knows this, but he's the second fastest sprinter of all time.
Yeah.
Got
He's
it.
got the second. It was like Usain did, what was it? He did 9.59, I think. I think Johan is maybe 9.69, like 0.1.
Wow.
It's somewhere in that
In there,
world.
yeah.
But like Johan, when I watching him, everybody needs to see this and like see how it's just different. It's like he moves. It's like if he were a cheetah, it's your ass.
Yeah.
He's
His
gonna
power,
track
his
you.
power output is crazy.
Yes. Anders raced him.
Yeah.
But Anders was given like a 20 or 25
Anders'
meters.
partner.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Gave Anders a 25-meter head start. It looked like a cheetah tracking down a poor little, not only a deer, but a deer with a broken leg.
Shout out Anders. Yeah.
It just looked like he pawed the ground and like teleported through space. It was insane. To this
Yeah.
date, athletically, I've never seen anything like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Everybody go to Jamaica and watch those dudes.
I want to wrap it up with this, Travis, and have you speak on this. There's a lot of younger trainers and people in the profession that pay attention to the podcast and just kind of the stuff I got going on. You've produced content off and on consistently for a long time, but you're also, how old are you?
I'm 49.
Okay, so but you're from the same era, but even a few years older, and originally from powerlifting, which usually those guys are against content, right?
Right.
Because they don't want to be sold out or whatever the fuck dumb that is. So it's like,
Yeah, Louis-
I don't ever understand that. But
Why
Louis was
content master.
Louis, who was one of the greatest content producers of all time.
Why
So it's-
help people?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
why would I want to pass on everything I've done my
or
whole
do
life?
this
Yeah.
for a living if I just do
Right.
content. So my I guess my question and just statement is like, what's your advice for guys that are kind of struggling with that, or also like maybe are overthinking doing content because of what their buddy's gonna think? It's a huge fucking problem, but we've made a good living because we ain't scared to do it.
Right.
But the part of that's confidence too.
Right.
But it's like I think a lot more people could have this as their profession, because how many guys do you know that are great that could easily do this as a profession but will never be able to because of this piece?
And they're so afraid, because it is right now. Like, even me, I'm very careful of what I say is an absolute. So
Yeah.
that would be the things you got to do is like, it's the way you say things.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be careful of saying something is 100% because it could very well not be anymore.
Yeah.
We don't know, but you could easily put out content saying, this is what I do. Here's the results I've gotten. All my athletes have noticed this. That's data. And
Yeah.
so I would just say in the way you present yourself, and then no one can
More
say
about the
anything.
delivery.
Yeah, it's all about delivery. Don't use absolutes. Just say this is what's worked. We've done this thing, and this is what's happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's happened for 20 people. well, that's a pretty good,
Yeah.
sample size. And like, they went from doing this to this. Well, that's a really good effect size. So just be careful on what you say. But then, as long as you, present yourself who you are and here's what I have, I think you're fine. You put it out a lot and like, don't overthink it. When I put out something like a study or like a, somewhere I've like looked at a lot of research, then you got to be super careful because people, the scientists out there are like, that's the interesting group of humans. They want you to mess up so bad so they can murder you.
Yeah, I don't even fuck with those guys.
Squat University, that poor guy, like, like
he's built a good following, but he
Yeah.
gets hammered all the time too.
hammered. But still got over 1 million followers, so he doesn't care. His bank account is better than the people talking shit about him.
For sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
So that you just gotta get ready for that. So if you do become really big, know that's coming and just ignore it. I think there should be a point where all of us should probably, once you get to a certain level, you put the content out, but you don't do the social media. I think because we're human. Why would I care what some random person says? But I do. It makes me super mad. They'll say Ryan's on drugs. I'm like, man, damn. How? You know anything about USADA? Because like, they're there all the time. You can go read how many times he's been tested, and then I always ask him like, what is your theory on how I'm doing that? You think I'm
How are we
paying a
scooting by
chemist?
this? Yeah.
Like I'm not a billionaire.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay for a chemist, and I don't have the money to buy USADA off.
Yeah.
Like it's I'm not doing that, and so like I'll even say, come stay with us for a month. No one ever takes me up on that, but like so just get ready for that. I think I'm getting to the point where I want to do the content. I just don't want to read the stuff. Because I'm human, and it still bothers me.
Yeah,
For some reason.
I've had some really good ones lately, especially because now I'm on TikTok, and there's a lot of really young, weak kids on there that have never seen Conjugate.
Talking shit.
Oh my gosh! And then I have like some 17-year-old kid that can't even deadlift 300 pounds. That's like telling me,
junk.
yeah. And so I was like, it's been a while since I've had like this much coming at me. I'm like, this is good for me, but also you are human. Even though it just is what it is. But that's one thing I think that people have a hard time. But I'm not going to let that limit me building the next group of people that can follow this program. You know what I mean?
There's several ways to look at it. Like just yesterday, I'm looking. There was Squat University. Oh, it's funny. So Squat University was getting hated on by Noble Physio, which we're friends now. So what I did is he made a post about Squat University, and I was like, I'm curious. Why do you guys spend so much time talking about this guy? And I gave I was like, these are the things I know that he does. And, in the argument, they would put like, there's a two ways of looking at the lumbar spine. Mm-hmm. Should you flex? Should you not? Same with the thoracic. Yeah. And there's a lot of theories and it's research supporting both sides, but none of it's.
There's always research supporting both sides.
It's not conclusive, and that's my point.
Yeah.
So like, but then it got narrowed down, and the guy was really cool. He's like, you make valid points. And he's like, the thing that he's really wrong would be shoulders. There's something which I didn't even know that argument. And I'm like, we should email him. Maybe instead of like hammering this guy who like does all this free stuff for people. Yeah. And so we became friends. So this dude's gonna be on my podcast. But there was some other dude who was like, here's the way it started. The dude was talking about the belt. So like the belt, adds. He said that there was no research that would say that a belt will actually help. And I'm like,
hold on a second.
So he even went on to say, well,
have you ever squatted before, sir?
Exactly. So he went on to say like, there's research that says it increases velocity, and there's research that says it activates more muscle. I'm like, didn't you just answer your? But still, I stayed out of it. But then someone tagged me. And he said, well, Coach Master does a lot with velocity. Maybe he could chime in. And so then I got in and said, well, I was like, definitely in my sport, when you talk about, it's a power driven. Even though powerlifting is not really power. And weightlifting is power because it's force times velocity is power. And so like, I have to get height on the bar. Squatting, you don't have to squat fast. I could squat at 0.1 meters per second, or I could squat at 0.5.
You just have to squat it.
I did the same thing. I said, in my sport, 100%, velocity, times that force is going to give me height on the barbell to get under. So it's just like, and then he was like, cool. Do you have research? So I crushed it for him, gave him tons of research, and then I even said, but if you just look at, Newton's second law, which is, it's really the force equals mass times acceleration. But from that equation comes everything: velocity, power, and the dude said, because I said, if you look at Newton's second law, and I quoted some things, he said, well, Newton's second law is force times mass acceleration, which I even said in that. I was like, bro, I know. He said, so I think you're getting confused with velocity. I'm like, do you know what acceleration is? Acceleration is the end velocity minus the original velocity divided by how long it took me to get there. So like, bro,
Yeah. And then you're like, did I just waste half my life dealing with this guy?
But the dude at the end said, you're right. He said, I guess it was just the wording. I'm like, you need to read the whole thing. I was very clear in all of that. I was like, So in that instance, though, the moral of the story, it actually was good because everybody, it was in the way I approached it. Even though I wanted to strangle the dude, I was like, my wife was like, breathe. And so then I was like, because he was like, he said something like, I don't mean to be the physics police. I'm like, you can talk shit to me about a lot of things, but physics and biomechanics is probably not going to work out for you.
Yeah.
So like
You basically went like this.
Oh. I was like, I can't believe this guy, anyway. And then he's like, you can read Lane Norton stuff. And I was like, son, Lane Norton is my friend. He would defer to me on this topic, like nutrition. I would defer to, but I didn't say any of this I'm saying right now. I was nice to him.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, I was pretty clear. And I even went on to say, with the belt, more of the finish on that, is that even physiologically, things are happening. When I put the belt on, if velocity is increased, we know then that motor unit recruitment is increased, and the rate of that recruitment is increased, and then elasticity, the things I taught, Titan, I said earlier, and you got the stretch reflex, muscle spindles, Golgi tendon organ, all those processes are improved with a focus on velocity. That's nothing new. We've compensatory acceleration. Louis talked about that forever.
Yep.
Was it Fred Outfield was the one who really brought that term, and I was like, this is not new. So I did end, and then everyone was really cool though. So yesterday gave me hope for humans. Is like we can talk, we can disagree at first and discuss things and come to different conclusions. But that was really
I would have
cool.
got to the drink the blood part on
Yeah.
fast.
I wanted to.
I was just thinking, we need T-shirts that says drink your own blood.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Dude, I'm even a bigger fan of Ryan now after hearing that.
Yeah.
That is
Me
fucking.
too.
That's like the goated celebration.
Yeah.
It's
We need to
Like,
clip
that's-
that video in.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so good.
He is just this kid. But anyway, so that was. I hope that we can all agree, instead of using the absolute and then somebody yelling at you, can't we just discuss things and learn?
And I think that's maybe where I have an issue is when people come at me, I'm like, yo, first off, I got my own lab in here, right? We just doing what we do
For the last 30 years,
Yeah,
man.
forever,
Yeah.
bro. I've been doing this since '99. So it's
chill.
I don't know. It's just really, it's I'm not hurting anything you're doing. Why are you coming at me?
That's what I said too.
It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I gotta send you what I sent them. I was like, maybe if you just spent all your time, if you think he's wrong, putting out content that's contrary
support
to
your
that,
fucking
then maybe you'll change. But
Yeah.
I was like, but if someone that follows him reads this, they're gonna turn you off because of you're showing so much hate. They're not gonna listen to you because the natural instinct is if there's something you believe in and someone attacks it, instantly you're going to attack back. And so, but if someone questioned and said, maybe what about this? And in that language would get a lot more done. And so it was really cool to talk to these people and they actually say,
I know we're going long, but I got one more question because I think you can explain it. When Lou used to talk about the Golgi tendon and the bands, why is that? And that's because I get a lot of questions why don't you just put more weight on the bar? And I'm like, well, because it overloads the nervous system and it's got the eccentric.
Thanks for asking.
But I think if we have because we'll be able to clip this and say on the website, this is why your body likes the bands because of.
When you do a squat, when you do anything, when you stretch the muscle, there's a couple things that happens. It's if you think about there's muscle spindles that run along parallel to your muscle fibers. And so when those stretch, and they're connected directly to your spinal cord. So they don't have to go to the brain and back. They go to the spinal cord and back. So they cause passive contraction. They cause you to contract. That stretch reflex, the bounce at the bottom.
Yeah.
The Golgi tendon organ is in the tendon. And what happens when it feels that pressure, like that grinding where you're slowing down, they will inhibit the muscle and turn it off, and like cause you to like you can't do it because it's worried that you're going to tear the muscle or tear the tendon. And so there's two different things. So it inhibits the muscles.
Okay.
The muscle spindles increases. It helps to contract. So they're both important in the stretch reflex. So now, when your point with bands is like because I'm going. When it pulls you faster, when you have a day, it won't be. Now, there's definitely merit to the pausing, but when you have your day where you're just going as fast as you can. So this is where velocity really comes in, and like, is that if I go as fast as I can under control, what happens is that Golgi tendon organ gets used to that, and it's inhibited, and it starts saying, okay, we're fine, we're not over time. So, and the faster you go, the more efficient the joint, muscle spindles. And yes, you're saying you're teaching the Golgi tendon organ to chill out, don't turn me off, and you're teaching the muscle spindles to contract even faster. And those are passive contractions. Those are things happening where it's not you. Your body is lifting it for you, is creating that much force at that rate too. And so the faster I'm pulled down, the faster it'll turn around. And so like there's a merit for days of like, and it doesn't necessarily, it's not so much about how that it's a certain speed, it's that you're going as fast as you can. And so like that's the compensatory acceleration, meaning when I'm in the bottom, I'm going to push as hard as I can to the tip top. And bands allow you to accelerate to the top without the weight coming off of you. So there's like, that's like three different things that bands help with that neuromuscular, reaction of the stretch reflex.
And then when you take that shit off, you feel like astronomically fast.
Totally.
Because what we found out too, Travis, is that if we load up on like our back squat day, if I know I'm going to squat 700 in the meet, I've got to take 800 to 830, 850 in total tension.
Totally.
So it's like then I'm, when I unrack that weight, it doesn't even feel like that heavy.
Right.
Because my nervous system has already felt it.
It's like, yes, as an athlete, I know exactly what you're talking about. But a researcher doesn't even comprehend that, it feels like.
But I know my unrack is 830. It's like, then when I go to the meet, especially bloated, then you have super compensation.
Yes.
I've had more rest. I'm bloated.
Correct.
I've got the hype of the adrenaline. Like all of that works
I know
together.
What 800 feels like.
Exactly.
700 feels like a joke. I get it.
Yeah.
That's, potentiation is like you're teaching your body. You are, even when you're doing, say, the bands and it's super heavy, now you're getting, and that's all part of what I told you too, the stretch reflex. So the body is already giving feedback. You get the afferent. Some things are going at the joints. They're picking up certain things and giving it back to your brain, saying what to do about it. So like when it's used to 800, it doesn't send this emergency signal of like, oh shit, we're in trouble. It's like, oh, 700 is nothing, So like all of it, it's so neuromuscular. Andy Gobbin, yes, it's definitely muscular and it's definitely cellular, but it has a lot to do with that neuromuscular junction.
It also makes you a fucking dog.
Yeah. It looks cool too. Like bands and chains just look cool. Right?
It doesn't look not cool.
I don't know how to measure that, but I know that.
I know Ryan's measuring it for us now. That's one of my favorite things I've heard in a long time. So good. Well, Travis, I got to tell you, it was really fun having you here, man. It was fun chopping it up just about all these different things. I'm your boy Corey G, Small Arms Danny at Trey Speed, and the graphic gangster himself, Cole Susak. That is Travis Mash, and we are out.